Tony alert.
You know what's weird? Dude, playing this after playing Hunt, whenever we come back to the lobby, it feels very odd that I just select a mission and go in. It feels like I'm forgetting something. Like I'm like, oh, I gotta set up my shit again or something. I forgot to respec. I forgot to buy my traits or my gun. You know?
It would be cool if the lobby in Hunt was like a tavern.
That would be cool.
Or a saloon.
Yeah.
Yes. Just make it a whole town. You go to the gun store, right? You go to the general store.
The blacksmith.
Yeah.
Gotta convince Maddie to play Hunt with us.
No, I don't like it.
It's so good.
I couldn't get into it. I feel blind when I'm playing.
I think we played so bad when you were playing with us, though.
Yeah, but now you guys are too good. I won't be able to keep up.
Okay, so AI. I do definitely like roll my eyes whenever somebody mentions ChatGPT, because, well, I mean, I'm a hipster and I hate things that are mainstream, but like, it feels like specifically ChatGPT is like a mega fad. Like
all the YouTubers.
I get how great it is, but it's like people forget that, like, you know, Cleverbot existed. And it's like, hey man, don't, you know, you're forgetting where you came from, man.
And your roots.
Yeah, don't forget your roots. But my question to you, Chris, is what is AI?
It's like...
Okay,
I mean,
so
that's
before
such a
you
loaded
answer,
question.
Before you answer, like when people say AI, you can use it to describe two different types of things, I think. Or at least for the purposes of this conversation, I'm going to refer to two here. So there's like the machine learning type of stuff, right? Like ChatGPT, for example. And then you also have what I don't think is necessarily AI, but it's been kind of lumped in just because of, you know, where we came from as a society, which is like a pre-programmed set of rules, so it's just like a giant tree of if statements.
Yes, yep.
Like if you were gonna like make an AI for tic-tac-toe, it's not actually necessarily AI. You could just write it out line by line. If person puts X here, you put O here, right?
Absolutely, yep.
So is that still AI, or is that term now, is it beyond what we used to refer to as AI, and that should now be called something different?
I think the latter for sure. Did you know the YouTube channel Down the Rabbit Hole?
Nay.
He's got these like 3-4 hour long videos, deep dives into very, very specific subjects, and they're all very different subjects. But one of them is about the whole chess computer.
Ooh, okay.
It was all the Deep Blue versus Kasparov is the main thing of the video. But you know, historically, there's always been people trying to make these machines that can play chess. And it's a really interesting problem to solve, because like tic-tac-toe, there's only so many states the game can be in.
Yes.
It's a 3x3 grid, there's only so many moves you can have before the game's over, and there's only like 2 or 3 possible outcomes. Whereas chess, there's literally not enough atoms in the universe to represent every possible chessboard. So something like tic-tac-toe on a computer, it's very easy to just algorithmically go down a tree branching of if one player plays this, then play that, and you're going to win.
Yes.
Chess, you can't do that. You can for specific cases, but you can't for the general case.
Right.
So you have to create a machine that can think. It has to have like pattern recognition. It has to be able to analyze the board in its current state without understanding necessarily what is going to lead to a victory. Where the hell is it going with that? It just makes a good distinction between exactly what you're talking about. One is an algorithmic problem, the other is a... how do you even describe it? I'm not an expert on AI, so it's kind of... I might be saying a lot of gibberish.
I think I get what you're saying, and I pretty well agree with you. Like the kind of the reason I brought it up, I guess, because I was thinking like specifically, like with old video games, like let's say like StarCraft or something, like the AI in that game, or the, well, I guess you call it an NPC, AI, CPU, computer, whatever you want, right? Like it's not the same type of thing. It's not what you would call AI today, you know?
No, AI, blah, especially in terms of games, a lot of AI is just faking it so that it feels intelligent.
Right.
Yes.
Everyone always brings up the game Fear when you talk about AI in games, because it is
You know
just... What?
Very funny is that you talked about this in the Skur video I just edited.
Did I really?
Yeah, Fear. The AI
is-
in Fear.
It is such a good game, and the AI, again, it's nowhere near as smart as it seems. How much did I go into it in Skur?
You were just talking about ladies should play it solo sometime. It's a very scary game. The AI is really cool because it'll call out like, you know, flashlight or something like that, or they'll go under desks or some shit.
Yes. So it's smoke and mirrors. Like, the AI in it isn't any smarter than any other game of the year. You know, it's a first-person shooter game. You run around shooting bad guys, and they try and shoot you. It's pretty rudimentary stuff. But while they're trying to shoot you, and while they're moving around, they say what they're doing. And they say why they're doing it. And that makes it seem way more intelligent than it actually is. And so much of AI in video games, like, it's intentionally made dumb, because if you were to play against something that was as smart as you are, it wouldn't be fun.
Right. Yes.
Like, if you're meant to be one guy taking on 20 other people, you'd get your ass handed to you in real life. So why would you want that in a video
100%.
game?
Right.
Dog, I can barely even fucking 1v1 people in Hunt.
I mean, yeah. Because you're playing against someone who hypothetically is as smart as you are, and they have the same resources as you.
So, the other kind of part of the reason I asked it is I was remembering, like, it's very interesting as well that you brought up the, actually, maybe I brought it up. It was the tic-tac-toe example.
Yep.
So, for our, I think it was our grade 12 computer science final, my buddy Mark made a, like, we all pitched in together. It was a group of 3 of us. We made a tic-tac-toe game together in Java, and Mark made a, like, you know, a tic-tac-toe quote-unquote AI that you could select difficulty on, and the hardest difficulty you couldn't beat, right? Because there is that option that if, you know, X goes first, if they play perfectly, you will never beat them.
You can always force a draw in tic-tac-toe.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just funny to think about that, because, like, if you explained that to somebody, like, or rather if you told them instead of explaining, they'd probably think it was really impressive. But it, at its core, it's just, you know, it's just a tree of if statements.
Yeah. I think the kind of scary thing that people don't understand about AI as it is today is I think they have that misconception that it is a bunch of if statements. So, like, I feel like I've said this before. Like, when one of Elon Musk's cars suddenly accelerates and kills 20 people,
Right.
bursts into flames, and people say, oh, well, why don't you just make the AI not do that? You're not looking at lines of code to find the if statement that says, if you see a pedestrian, run them down, and say, oh, I gotta fix that bug. It's just this amorphous blob of learned binary. You can't really inspect it. There's no way to look at that and say, oh, these are the bytes that made it do that. You have to go back to the training data and try and figure out how the hell was it compelled to do that.
It's very interesting because if you, like, watch some of those, like, do you watch Code Bullet on YouTube?
Yes, Code Bullet's great.
Yeah. So, like, you watch some of his videos where he uses machine learning to, like, teach it to play, like, a stupid game or something. It's very interesting in, like, 1 or 2 of the videos where he, like, he'll show you, like, the trees of stuff that the AI kind of connected together as it was learning.
Now, that's a completely different type of AI as well.
Yes.
So, that's called a genetic algorithm. So what you do is you basically create 100 agents, and you randomize what they're going to do. And they try and do the thing, and you score them based on how well they did it. So you imagine, like, Super Mario. You want Mario to get to the flag. So you have 100 Marios, and they press random inputs on the controller. And the ones that pressed right are scored better than the ones that pressed left. So they get to live on to the next generation. So you take them as your next generation, you randomize the next input, and then you know, the ones of the second generation that pressed right scored better than the ones that pressed left again, so they get to live, and so on, until you get one that presses right and falls down a pit and dies, and that one gets culled. So now the one that randomly jumped, they get to be part of the next generation. So it's just like this algorithm that goes on and on and on for millions of generations until you find one that kind of figured out the problem. And now that you've got...
quite fascinating.
Yeah, but it's not a general purpose AI. It's not something that's learned how to play Mario. It is something that has accidentally stumbled its way through to the flag. And if you put it in a different Mario level, it would fail immediately.
Take your sweet time, old lady. I've got all day.